At the same time, the South African National Defence Force says it stands ready to assist in ensuring safety and security of the general elections in 10 days' time. However, the SANDF would not divulge how many soldiers would be deployed for this task. This emerged during a media briefing by the National Joint Operational and Intelligence Structure earlier today. SANDF Major General Mninimzi Sizani says they are on standby and the SANDF has prepared and will be prepared to deploy the required resources by the police. With exactly 10 days to the polls, political parties are entering crunch time in their campaign efforts. One such party is the electoral debutante Rise Mzansi. They hosted their People's Rally today in Reimsig on the west of Johannesburg. Mzwandile Mbeche, SABC News political editor, joins me now for more on this. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Filling up or having a rally at a stadium is a very attractive thing to do and a very enticing thing to do. But it takes a lot of might to be able to pull that off. And for a small and new political party to choose a stadium to have the rally, it's a big decision. Did they do so successfully?
Well, absolutely. And you know that politics, Oliver, is also about optics and perceptions. And once you are able to project that image that you are a powerhouse, that you can flex that muscle, you are likely perhaps to sway some of those who may have doubted you. So clearly, as you see this week, you will see parties ramping up their campaigns to try and fill up their stadiums. I mean, you saw yesterday the MK party, which filled up Orlando, and then of course the new entrance into politics, Rise Mzansi. Oh, by the way, MK is also the new entrant because it's pretty much new, but because it's led by people who've been in the politics for long, so you can easily confuse that. So clearly, it will be very interesting going forward, particularly in the week ahead. I mean, we know perhaps some of the top parties have their rallies planned. ANC, for example, FNP, big one. EFF, Polokwane, DA in Benoni, and then of course IFP in Richards Bay. So they will be trying to flex their muscle, but of course, as you have correctly said at the beginning, so you can do all of that, what matters is people going out and vote.
Yeah, on the optics battle, because optics is a battle of money, if we're going to be honest. It's about how many posters do you have? Do you have the biggest billboards? Are your billboards in the right places? And can you fill up a stadium, which is not a cheap exercise to do. As political parties are doing that, we have to take into account that just yesterday, just on Friday, my apologies, we learned from the IEC that Rise Mzansi had declared donations of over 15 million rand. So they're a relatively well-funded political party. But are they truly winning the optics battle? Because there's a lot of noise going on with various other political parties.
I think where Rise Mzansi may have somehow captured some sort of imagination within some sections of the middle class, and then of course within those that have access to things like social media and their posters. I'm sure where you live, you have seen their posters. They're almost everywhere, perhaps attesting to the fact that they have money, something that we have spoken about. But in terms of getting to the masses, the ordinary people, yes, we have seen some people turning up in their events, but perhaps not as big as we have seen with other parties. Clearly, that does tell you that perhaps their target audience may be a bit more different. I mean, we've just had the international voting days, and then we saw they are actually there, and then that talks to the fact that within the middle class, so they certainly are. How big? It's anybody's guess.
Look, when it comes to election, fighting for publicity is a big battle, right? But one party that's been getting a lot of it for free almost is the MK party, and this is because they've been embroiled in legal battles since inception. Tomorrow they'll be appearing in the Constitutional Court again, getting judgment, and if it goes in their favor, big celebration. But if it doesn't go in their favor, did they lose out at all, or did the free airtime that they got as a result of all this litigation bode well in their favor?
I mean, Oliver, you know very well, no bad publicity.
Yeah, there's no such thing as bad publicity.
There's no such thing as bad publicity. And I think this has really worked for them because sometimes even if it were not them, remember, the ANC also took them to court, somehow giving them the platform to talk about themselves. So clearly tomorrow it's still their day. I mean, yesterday we were speaking about them, they were at the stadium. So tomorrow it's still about them. It doesn't matter whichever way the decision is going. So the talk will still be about them. And I think it works because somehow to keep their name in the media and in the minds of the people somehow does make them relevant one way or the other.
Yeah, but judgment tomorrow. If it goes in their favor, big celebration, like I said. But if it doesn't go in their favor, is this the end of the political road for Jacob Zuma?
You know, let's put it this way. Perhaps I think South Africans will, I mean, they generally are aware of this. Even if the former president goes to parliament, which, I mean, if then he were then to accept every privilege that comes with being a parliamentarian, he forgoes the I don't know whether that would be the right decision. But let's say he goes to parliament as a volunteer and then he decides, I'm going to be a member of parliament, so I'm not going to take any of the privileges. So then he keeps his presidential privileges. But here is the fact, is that our constitution is very clear. At the moment, even if MK were to win elections, former President Zuma can't be president under the current constitution because, as I normally say, when perhaps I try to engage with a number of people to say, in this country as we stand, is two people who can't be presidents anymore. It's former President Zuma, it's former President Mbeki, despite the fact that they did not finish their terms. Why? Because the constitution is clear. So if someone finishes your term, your second term, it's taken as if you are the one. It happened to both of them. So
as long as you've been inaugurated twice.
Exactly. It's done.
Yeah, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for that. Really do appreciate it. SABC News political editor, Mzwandile Mbeche.